Local 4 News starts now with a breaking news alert.
That breaking news happening at Little Caesars Arena. That's where 2 workers have been taken to the hospital with minor injuries because of an ammonia leak.
Officials believe this happened in an area around the basement refrigeration system for the ice. Right now, the whole building is evacuated, but there are no events scheduled for tonight with the Wings in Vegas. The Pistons are in Paris.
All right, let's turn now to the forewarned forecast and the threat of more rain. We've had plenty of that. Here comes more and maybe even a rumble of thunder later tonight.
Yeah, let's take a live look now at the ice rink in Campus Martius. It is closed today because of the rain and the warmer temperatures. Yeah.
Different story, though, up north. This would be Boyne Highlands in Harbor Springs, where they are expecting about 5 inches of snow overnight. They need it because they had rain earlier this week.
Yeah.
Tough on the slopes. Good to have you with us here at 5. I'm Devin Skillian.
And I'm Kimberly Gill back here at home. This unusual January weather just keeps rolling on here. So let's kick things off with Kim Adams and a timeline of what we can expect, Kim.
Well, it's a pretty quick timeline. In fact, between now and 9 o'clock is when we'll get those showers and maybe an embedded thunderstorm. Chance for the heaviest rain will be from 96 south toward the Ohio border, but that doesn't mean that even in the northern suburbs you might hear a rumble of thunder. Now, the severe weather, though, is just down to our south. So let's zoom in a bit closer here, and there's nothing going on in Metro Detroit. It's all centered right along the Indiana border going into Michigan, also northwest Ohio. This is where the heaviest precip is, and I can't even believe we're talking about this, but there is a severe thunderstorm watch up, and it's just to the south of us in parts of central Ohio. That's where the strongest thunderstorms are right now. We've seen a couple of warnings pop up. We might get a gusty wind or two and maybe just hear the rumble of thunder, but that would be about it. But that's still pretty close to us and pretty unusual for January. But any rain we get tonight and any moisture left over is going to change over to some very light snow overnight tonight. Yes, I said the S word, some snow, and there's more of it in the 7-day forecast that I'll have coming up in just a little bit. But if you want to keep up to date on exactly when the rain moves into your neighborhood, you can have interactive radar right in the palm of your hand by downloading the Forewarned Weather app.
Okay, Kim, our other top story tonight, a 50-year-old woman shot and killed in a parking lot in Washtenaw County.
Yeah, this happened right around 9 o'clock this morning on Plaza Drive, not too far from I-94 and the State Street exit. Megan Woods following this story with more on what police are telling us. Megan.
Well, Devin, Kimberly, police aren't saying much, but they are saying that they need the public's help in finding this woman's killer. This right here is where she was parked in a white SUV when someone came up and shot the driver's side window at least 10 times. This is how Pittsfield Township Police Department found a white GMC Yukon parked in front of a fitness center in Airport Plaza Business Park. Inside, a Plymouth woman, just 50 years old, found dead. Police are investigating her death as a homicide and had this lot closed off for 4 hours. And while they sort through the evidence to lead them to her killer, they say this incident was not random. Investigators also believe at this time there's no specific threat or danger to the public. Sources say the woman was a client of one of these workout gyms. We have reached out to management of this business plaza and surrounding businesses. They declined to comment. It really is a disturbing case to see how many gunshots were made in that driver's side window, and to know that it was done in broad daylight here. And police are hoping that if people have information, they reach out and contact them. We have that number if you want to remain anonymous on clickondetroit.com. Live in Pittsfield Township, I'm Megan Woods, Local 4.
Exactly. All right, Megan.
Prosecutors in New Mexico say they plan to charge actor Alec Baldwin with involuntary manslaughter in the deadly shooting of a crew member on the set of his film Rust. And that isn't the only charge in the case.
Actor and producer Alec Baldwin and film armorer Hannah Gutierrez-Reed each face 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter. Helena Hutchins shot and killed in October of 2021 on the set of the Western movie Rust.
Just because it's an accident doesn't mean that it's not criminal.
The Santa Fe District Attorney insists safety was disregarded during production.
There were live rounds on set. They were mixed in with regular dummy rounds. Nobody was checking those, or at least they weren't checking them consistently. And then they somehow got loaded into a gun, handed off to Alec Baldwin.
Baldwin maintains he did not pull the trigger. The DA says not only negligence, but recklessness was behind the cinematographer's death.
It was the totality of the circumstances, that this was a really fast and loose set, and that nobody was doing their job. There were 3 people that if they had done their job that day, this tragedy wouldn't have happened.
The film's assistant director, David Halls, signed a plea agreement and will not face further charges. The case has been a whirlwind of finger-pointing and accusations, with Baldwin repeatedly denying responsibility. His attorney saying, quote, "This decision distorts Helena Hutchins's tragic death and represents a terrible miscarriage of justice." An attorney for Gutierrez Reed says his client has committed no crime.
And the family of Helena Hutchins released a statement saying, in part, quote, "It is a comfort to the family that in New Mexico, no one is above the law." The Supreme Court says it has not been able to identify who leaked a draft of the court's opinion overturning abortion rights.
Chief Justice John Roberts ordered the investigation right after the leak occurred. The draft opinion overturning Roe v. Wade was made public before the justices were ready to release it. Investigators interviewed nearly 100 employees. Everyone denied being a part of the release. Investigators also don't believe the systems were improperly accessed by someone outside the court. Despite telling us that so far there's nothing found, the investigation, we're told, will continue. The court battle over an allegedly stolen painting by Vincent van Gogh hanging in the Detroit Institute of Arts has hit a bit of a stalemate.
It comes after a judge declined to make a ruling on the painting called A Novel Reader, one of the artist's later works. Our Grant Herms was in court today, and Grant, we expected that the judge would make a decision. So what happened?
Well, what happened was at one point today, the attorneys for the claimed owner came very close to saying the DIA either worked with thieves or was essentially continuing the alleged theft of what they consider to be their art. And while the judge didn't make a ruling, he did say the DIA was blameless. Now, ultimately, we are hitting the wire here. This exhibit, it will be gone after this weekend, and potentially that painting with it. At the heart of this is whether the DIA is displaying a piece of stolen art, Vincent van Gogh's The Novel Reader, painted in 1888. Attorneys for their client, a person claiming ownership from Brazil, says their client had given the painting to a third party for storage. They allege that third party then cut ties with the claiming owner, and the painting went missing for years until it surfaced at the DIA. The painting, however, according to the DIA's attorneys, was never listed as lost or stolen on any international database. Attorneys for the DIA say they're protected by a 1965 law and approval to hang the painting by the State Department for being both culturally significant and of national interest. The DIA, however, has not disclosed where they got the painting in the first place. Neither the attorney for the claiming owner nor the DIA had a comment in court today. The DIA also declined to comment on the case specifically, only saying in a statement, the museum's focus during these final days of the internationally celebrated Van Gogh in America exhibition is on welcoming guests from Macomb, Oakland, and Wayne counties around the state of Michigan, the United States, and the world. And attorneys for the claimed owner also said today they got another call from another group of attorneys from New York claiming they represent the actual owners of this painting. Now, that group is not a part of this case, but it is a wrinkle in this whole saga that continues to play out. Kimberly?
So, Grant, when can we expect a ruling from the judge?
Well, that wasn't clear. What was clear this morning in court was that the judge seemingly didn't really want to make a ruling on this. He repeatedly encouraged and urged both sides to do this on their own. He offered to help the back and forth here. If it comes to it, he said a written opinion would be issued, in his words, sooner rather than later. Back to you.
We'll be following it. Grant, appreciate it. Yeah.
The U.S. government hit its $31.4 trillion debt limit today, capping the level of debt that the country can take on by law. And as the White House and House Republicans draw their battle lines on increasing the nation's borrowing limit, the Treasury Department said it has started resorting to, as they put it, extraordinary measures to pay the bills. Drew Petrolmo is in Washington for us tonight. Drew?
Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen warns the extraordinary measures she's taking to allow the government to continue paying its bills will only last until June. A long-term solution requires congressional action, and so far, all signs point to gridlock. As the U.S. blew past its $31.4 trillion debt limit, Democrats and Republicans are poised for a fight that could damage the nation's economy.
This is about the United States meeting its bedrock commitments as a country and as a nation.
In order to pay for tax cuts and government spending already approved by Congress, lawmakers must increase the debt limit. Republicans, now in control of the U.S. House, are pushing to tie the increase to spending cuts.
Just extending the credit card to continue spending recklessly is not in the interest of the American people.
But the White House and congressional Democrats say reckless is using the debt limit as a bargaining chip. In a statement, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said it's clear who will actually pay the price for gratuitous partisan politics: American families. The last fight over the debt limit in 2011 caused stocks to fall and mortgage rates to surge, even though a deal was eventually reached. And this time, analysts fear newly empowered hardliners in the Republican Party will prevent Congress from acting.
This one feels worse. These people are more dug in, more determined to extract major concessions than any of the other ones I've watched go by.
Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says the extraordinary measures she's taking will allow the government to continue paying its bills until June. If a deal is not in place after that, the U.S. could default on its debt, triggering massive job losses, plunging 401ks, and increasing the cost of borrowing.
I would not be concerned about a financial crisis.
For now, lawmakers on both sides are expressing confidence the debt ceiling will be raised before default happens. According to the Department of the Treasury, Congress has adjusted the debt limit 78 times since 1960, 49 times under Republican presidents, 29 times under Democratic presidents. Reporting from Washington, I'm Drew Petromo, Local 4.
Okay, Drew, we are off and running here on a Thursday.
Let's check in with Sean Lay. Sean?
I'm Sean Lay. Live at 5:30, I'm going to take you inside a Detroit courtroom where the judge today had strong words for a man charged with murder, saying violent predators have no place in this city. These are comments we all need to hear live at 5:30.
A woman's story.
My record is so thick you couldn't add nothing else to it.
A history of violent crimes.
You can see the marks around my neck.
And the hope someone would understand why she did what she did.
Your past does not define your future.
Trafficked, convicted, and pardoned. Leslie's story of hope coming up.
I'm Victor Williams, and coming up, a warning from the Shelby Township Police Department in terms of keeping your vehicle safe, the mistake that so many people make, coming right up.